amendment to the Mineral Development Agreement with ArcelorMittal Holdings, among others. Delays in passing these measures will weaken the reforms needed for economic growth and institutional integrity. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, I have also submitted for amendment to existing anti-corruption laws, including legislation to address illicit enrichment and to remove the existing statute of limitation on corruption cases. In 2026, we will submit additional priority bills, including legislation to establish the National Planning Commission to strengthen development planning and budgeting, and a specialized code for property dispute to reduce the backlog of land cases. We will propose a universal health insurance program and a bill to establish National Road Authority dedicated to road construction and maintenance. We will also submit the revised charter of the University of Liberia to accommodate needed reforms and administrative structures. We will expand Liberia's Agriculture Commodity Regulatory Authority's mandate to enhance output, processing, marketing of quality agricultural commodities. We will also seek an amendment to the executive law to restructure the Ministry of Foreign Affairs so it can better serve citizens and adapt to our evolving international responsibilities. Finally, we will submit bills to repeal outdated People's Redemption Council era decrees that created public institutions that no longer serve today's governance needs. Beyond legislation, my administration issued 16 executive orders to advance governance, economic, social priorities in line with the national development goals. Each action, whether by law or order, was taken for one purpose: the benefit of the Liberian people. We remain dedicated to fostering cooperation among all branches of government through mutual respect, open dialogue, as the Constitution requires. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tem, members of the legislature, fellow Liberians. Last year, we emphasized the economic challenges inherited by this administration, not as an excuse, but to highlight the hurdles faced and the progress achieved. Through disciplined fiscal management, sound policies, and robust partnerships, we began restoring stability and trust. As of 2024, the economy showed resilience with steady growth, declining inflation, stronger reserve, and renewed momentum across key sectors. This progress continued in 2025 with macroeconomic stability and private sector growth, strengthening our commitment to the Liberian people. We are proud to announce that the economy grew by 5.1% in 2025. This exceeds both the 4.6% forecast and the 4.0% growth recorded in 2024. This achievement was driven by significant gains in mining, agriculture, fisheries, and services. Mining expanded by 17% and export rose by 31.5%. Looking ahead, ongoing reforms and infrastructure investment are expected to boost growth to over 5% in 2026, with average growth projected at about 6% from 2026 to 2028. Inflation fell to 4% by December 2025, the lowest in 2 decades, down from 10% when we took over in 2024. These achievements signal effective monetary and fiscal policies coupled with anticipated ease in input costs. Liberia's external sector performed well in 2025. Gross international reserve increased from $475 million in 2024 to $576 million, surpassing the previous year by $101 million. Also, net international reserve exceeded IMF targets, potentially reaching $280 million by December 2025, and export grew over 31% to about $2.1 billion. Our medium-term strategic and growth initiative, or Go Purchase program, is expected to further strengthen reserve, enhancing economic resilience. We are proud to report that we met nearly all IMF performance criteria in June 2025, reaffirming our commitment. The IMF external credit facility remains crucial for rebuilding reserves to cover 3.3 months of import by 2027, supported by prudent fiscal measures. Foreign investment in iron ore mining will also boost exports and the current account. Since September 2025, the foreign exchange market has been stable due to good liquidity management, fiscal discipline, and strong export earnings. The Liberian dollar appreciated by at least 3% against the US dollar. We are committed to maintaining currency confidence and stability. To promote financial inclusion, we accelerated Liberia's digital finance revolution, processing over 275,000 transactions, valued at more than 375 million Liberian dollars, or at 2.7 million by December 2025. Our goal is to raise financial inclusion from 52% in 2024 to 70% by 2029. The central bank is rebuilding public trust by strengthening governance and accountability and managing government securities more openly. In 2025, it issued $44.4 million US dollars, rolling over $132.1 million, and 7.6 billion Liberian dollars. And for the first time in decades, the bank recorded consecutive operational surpluses in 2024 and 2025. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the House of Legislation, despite real achievements in 2025, our development program faced one of the toughest tests. An abrupt clash in the donor support during the second quarter disrupted finance for essential social and economic projects. This led to job losses, reduced incomes, and hardship for many families. This government stepped up to it to close funding gaps and keep critical services running, but the disruption slowed implementation and stained our plans. Notwithstanding these challenges, we are pleased to report that we weathered the storm by instituting a package of measures that included tighter fiscal control, critical protecting social expenditure in health and education, and significantly enhancing domestic resources mobilization effort. Reaffirmed commitment from donor partners for 2025 amounted to $381 million, including $63 million in direct budget support and $321.5 million for programs and projects. During the year under review, the government concluded 9 financing agreements totaling $334.98 million, including $98.58 million concessional loans and $236.4 million in grants to advance national priorities. These agreements supported investment in infrastructure, human capital development, and natural resource management. Mr. Speaker and honorable members of the House of Representatives and members of the legislature, I informed you last year that our engagement with the United States have positioned Liberia for the Millennium Challenge Cooperation Compact. I am pleased to report that after a review and reassessment by the new U.S. government, Liberia's eligibility for a second MCC compact was reaffirmed in December 2025. The compact development process has begun, focusing on investment in energy and job creation. We extend profound appreciation to our bilateral and multilateral partners, including the United States of America, the European Union, People's Republic of China, the United Kingdom, Japan, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Morocco, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, African Development Bank, the United Nations and its agencies, the African Union and the Economic Community of West African States, and the Mano River Union for their trust, support, and ongoing commitment to Liberia as we strive to restore stability and bring essential relief and opportunities to our people. Last year's external funding cut was a wake-up call. It exposed how vulnerable we become and the race to our security when we rely too much on external support. In my annual message last year, I pledged to strengthen domestic revenue by aligning reforms with regional benchmarks, improving tax compliance, and investing in digital systems, including a modern customs inspection center at the Freeport of Monrovia. We have made real progress on these commitments, and the results are clear. Liberia can finance more than its own development if we put the right policies in place and collect what is due. For fiscal year 2025, we approved a national budget of $880.5 million, funded largely by $804.6 million in domestic revenue. By year end, total revenue reached $885.8 million, exceeding the target by $5.1 million. $847.7 million, surpassing the target by $43.1 million, the highest ever recorded in Liberia. That is an increase of 148 million over 2024, the largest single year gain in our nation's history. Last year, we submitted and you approved a budget of more than 1.2 billion for fiscal year 2026, representing the highest budget in the history of our country. Over the past 2 years, domestic revenue has risen by 235.7 million. This reflects stronger policy choices, improved administration, digitization, and better compliance. I commend the Liberia Revenue Authority and all partner institutions for their professionalism, and I call on the legislature to work with us to sustain these gains and direct every dollar towards results that improve the lives of the Liberian people. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, I am pleased to report that on account of the robust revenue performance for 2025, the fiscal authorities are concluding processes that will lead to submission of a supplemental budget to the legislature next month, the first in many years. As of the end of November 2025, government spending totaled $709.7 million, including both recurrent and capital spending. Spending on roads accounted for a major share of our capital expenditure. Public debt stood at $2.8 billion as at the end of December 2025. Domestic debt mainly owed to the central bank and commercial bank was $1.2 billion. External debt, largely to the World Bank and to the African Development Bank, was $1.6 billion. Despite fiscal pressures, the government remained largely current on its debt commitments, paying $120.1 million in debt service to both domestic and external creditors in 2025. We will continue prudent debt management and fiscal discipline. To strengthen the economy and address fiscal constraints, my administration has introduced major financial management reform to boost revenue, enacted the tax expenditure bill, tightened exemption controls, and are preparing to implement a value-added tax system by 2027. To support fiscal year 2026 $1.2 billion budget, we will expand the tax base by cracking down on evasion, updating tax rules, raising the goods tax by a modest 1%, and revising excise taxes. The government has strategically leveraged opportunities to attract credible investment and responsibly exploit natural resources for the benefit of Liberians. In 2025, the government signed key agreements to boost economic growth, infrastructure, and employment, including concession and access agreement with the Ivanhoe for the Yekepa-Bukena Rail Corridor, and amended deal with ArcelorMittal Liberia. Together, these represent approximately $4 billion in committed investments. The government has commenced the process of reactivating the Puto Iron Ore Mine. That will boost job creation and accelerate development in Grandira County and the southeastern region. In the hydrocarbon sector, the government signed 8 new petroleum agreements, 4 with Total Energies and 4 with Oranto Petroleum. Mr. Speaker, the honorable members of the legislature, despite ongoing global supply pressure, our actions have helped lower the cost of essential goods. Prices have eased for rice, flour, and fuel, relief that families can feel in their daily lives. For instance, 25-kilogram bag of Indian parboiled rice now retails at $14.50. And flours are dropped from 35 to 35 US dollars per 100-pound bag. Fuel has stabilized at $4 per gallon, helping to reduce transport costs. We strengthened supply and quality by completing a 17,000 cubic meter fuel storage tank and a modern testing laboratory at the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Company, thereby improving storage capacity, fuel standards, and national energy security. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I commend the Vice President and the Price Committee for acting to prevent unjustified price increases that harm our people. Let me be clear. Business that exploits consumers will be held accountable. Job creation remains the top priority for my administration. Our job creation strategy has focused on addressing the binding and structural constraints to growth, including investment in roads, energy. In this connection, we have created more than 70,000 short and medium-term jobs across the infrastructure, agriculture, social protection, and small businesses, among other sectors. Going forward, the Youth Entrepreneurship and Investment Bank project launched in 2025 will support 30,000 youth-led businesses, creating over 120,000 direct and indirect jobs for the youth. A national employment acceleration strategy focused on agriculture, public works, skill training, and support to small enterprises has been finalized. This will facilitate more Liberians to earn decent livelihood with dignity. Honorable members of the legislature, on January 15, 2025, the Liberian government launched the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development 2025 to 2029 and the 15th County Development Agenda in Buchanan-Grand-Bassa County. These initiatives reaffirm the country's commitment to Vision 2030, focusing on delivering measurable results through decisive implementations. The current budget allocates $290 million for capital investment in public sector investment projects, making this one of the largest recent government programs. The Arrest Agenda aims to diversify Liberia's economy beyond extraction and boost productivity through more than 370 interventions across sectors like agriculture, infrastructure, energy, tourism, governance, education, health, and sanitation, targeting annual growth above 5%. The broader goal will include raising GDP per capita above $1,050 by 2029, reducing the trade deficit and lowering poverty risk. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tempore, and members of the legislature, I am pleased to report today that we have made substantial progress across key sectors, including agriculture, the heart of the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, and the driver of job creation, food security, and growth. In 2025, over 198,000 farmers received government support, leading to expanded rice and cocoa cultivation and increased agriculture output. Infrastructure improvement, including the completion of 166 kilometers of feeder road, have reduced transport costs and enhanced market access, resulting in 33,755 Liberians moving from food insecurity to food security. In 2026, we will prioritize agribusiness, scaling rice production, expanding mechanization, operationalizing the One County, One Priority Commodity Program, and improving sector financing through new banking legislation. Additionally, the introduction of Liberia's first fiberglass semi-industrial fishing vessel, the Sea King, marks a milestone in boosting domestic fish production and food security. The government encourages private sector investor engagement to drive inclusive agriculture growth. Mr. Speaker and members of the legislature, nearly 3 years ago, I assured the nation that roads will be our focus, not as a slogan, but rather a commitment to connecting communities with opportunities. In furtherance of our commitment, we focus on restoring key corridors and expanding secondary roads. We increased Liberia's paved roads from under 12% to 20% and maintained more than 780 kilometers of major roads, ensuring year-round access. Connectivity improved between Burraville and Buffalo, Salaye and Medekoma, Tapita and Zedru, as well as Buchanan and Greenville, reducing costs and easing hardship for citizens. Key roads like Ganta, Sakripe now 56%, Sakripe Tapita up to 92% have advanced, while Kiripo Fishtown route is now fully paved. Additional projects, including the Buchanan-Greenville Highway, are in the pipeline, thanks to partner support from African Development Bank, World Bank, and others. Efforts will be made to Vahu more accessible to the rest of the country via road. The Army Corps of Engineers will play a role in delivering this initiative. In our ongoing commitment to maintain road access for our citizens, I am pleased to announce that the widely discussed 285 yellow machines procured by government last year are currently being shipped. These assets will be situated at the county hubs and used to support road maintenance efforts and form crucial part of our disaster response preparedness efforts across the country. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, fellow Liberians, we continue to make progress in connecting county capitals and major assets. Although the RIA Road Corridor project faced delays due to ongoing orders and challenges and changes in scope, we are still able to increase the length of the pavement from 20 to 25. With the audit and rescoping nearing completion, full work on this corridor is expected to resume in 2026. The Private Port Concession Agreement, which is designed to promote public-private partnership in road development, had been signed following your approval. Covered under this agreement are the St. Paul Bridge to Bow Waterside, Medina to Robertsport, and Medicoma to Boinema corridors. Construction on this project is scheduled to begin next month with a groundbreaking ceremony. Urban improvement on alleyways, drainages, and lighting in communities such as Cinco, Byton, and Carware, the Japan Freeway, and Marshall are ongoing, improving access and security for communities. Work on the overpass on the Tubman Boulevard has commenced and are set for completion by 2027. The rural areas, 411 kilometers rural roads and 122 kilometers urban roads, have been paved since the administration began. Looking ahead, the goal is to surpass 485 kilometers of paved road by 2029, strengthening national unity. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, electricity is a critical enabler for industrialization and other critical development programs. In 2025, the government, through the Liberia Electricity Corporation, focused on stabilizing this energy sector and expanding access as part of the REST agenda and our National Energy Compact. Over 83,000 new connections were established, covering communities in Montserrado and electrified 124 villages in Grand Bassa, Riverside, Bong, and Nimba. Through these initiatives, 17,000 households have access to power for their first time. Electricity tariffs have been cut to ease household costs, positioning energy as a driver for growth. Through the Rural and Renewable Energy Agency, we use solar power to provide electricity for 88 clinics across 14 counties and rural regions. Harper, Barclayville, Carrick-Keene, Zozo cities have each benefited with 173 street lights as part of the lighting of rural communities. We have installed 3,791 street lights through the CLSG Rural Electrification Program, benefiting over 124 towns and villages in Nimba, Grand Bassa, and Riverside, and Bong counties. The program also provided electricity to 2 universities, ABC and Cottington, 2 hospitals, Riverside District and Mother of Light Rehab, and is strengthening the cross-border grid in Nimba, Bong, and Margibi counties. Mount Coffee Hydro Power remained reliable. Outages decreased. Electricity sales rose by 24%. Revenue topped $71 million, and collection efficiency reached 94%. Further investment in reforms of LEC will aim at addressing inefficiencies, stabilizing the utility, and ensuring reliable services. In 2026, we plan to have 100,000 new connections, deploy advanced transmission lines and smart meters, reduce system losses by 35%, with more improvements ahead. Major projects underway include 250 megawatt gas to power plant, the 200 megawatt solar plant and storage, and a new hydropower project on the St. John River alongside existing solar, thermal, and hydropower capacity totaling 700 megawatts. Through our digital initiative, we created a new ICT strategic action plan to modernize the national telecom framework, and half of the government agencies have transitioned to unified ICT system. By November 2025, 56% of these entities had fiber optic networks installed, and 80% of the critical ICT infrastructure was secured with cyber security measures. Digital finance advanced with mobile money use rising from 46% to 58% in 2025. The central bank launched the Inclusive Instant Payment System, enabling real-time transactions and cross-border payments across Africa. Mobile network coverage expanded into underserved areas, improving access and participation in digital economy. The National Port Authority remains a critical gateway to Liberia's economy. Following my visit to Morocco last November, the Moroccan Port Development Entity agreed to invest in equipment and logistics for the Port of Monrovia, breaking the long-standing monopoly and boosting competition. Master plan for the Port of Monrovia and Buchanan have been developed. Tariff reforms are driving revenue growth. Further upgrades will include dredging the Port of Monrovia for larger ships, easing congestion, reducing costs, and introducing 24-hour operations. At Rabat International Airport, significant upgrades were completed, including the reopening of taxiway Bravo, rehabilitation of the apron and the jet bridge, and installation of a new navigational aids. These improvements were finalized ahead of the Turkish Airlines inaugural flight on May 11, 2026, representing a major advancement for the Liberian aviation. Additional, an agreement has been assured with the South Korea-made group to develop a ship recycling center and establish private-public partnership domestic airline in Liberia with an initial fleet of 3 aircraft. Mr. Speaker, the honorable members of the legislature, public transport is a vital service that every Liberian deserves. The National Transport Authority has long faced neglect with deteriorated infrastructure and unchecked corruption. We are changing that. Last year, we procured 64 buses, now deployed and serving Liberians nationwide. We also broke ground for a modern NTA headquarters, a step that will enhance service delivery and transform public transportation in our country. Since 1948, Liberia's maritime program has been central to our economy and global standing, featuring the world's largest open ship registry and skilled mariners. Recent modernization initiatives in the sector include domestic watercraft monitoring program with AIS, the first in decades, and vessel monitoring system technology for enhanced safety. Also, our re-election to the International Maritime Organization Category A reaffirmed Liberia's leadership in maritime governance. Education is fundamental to Liberia's renewal and growth in human capital. In furtherance of the unified data-driven reform adopted in 2024, access to quality learning for all children had been guaranteed. Teachers' dignity was restored by removing over 1,000 good names from the payroll. Consequently, over 2,000 qualified volunteer teachers were hired across all counties. Through the age 88.7 million Excel project supported by the World Bank and the Global Partnership for Education, we prioritize literacy and numeracy from grades 1 to 3, ensuring basic skills at the third grade. Our national digital learning platform now reaches remote villages with multimedia lessons, including sign language support. Also, 156 schools have been equipped with computer labs, and nearly 300 teachers have received technology training. Still under education, we improve the learning environment by supplying over 26,000 desks and chairs through the One Child, One Chair initiative. We also invested in building model schools in Bunk, Margibi, Nimba counties, in addition to renovating 40 schools and distributing 22,000 STEM kits. Through partnership with Tuskegee University and Booker Washington Institute, young Liberians will have the opportunity to further technical training in a host of vocations. Our national school feeding programs supported more than 239,000 students. Transparency and governance improved with the annual school census covering 6,394 schools after a 4-year pause. The launch of a digital school pyramid platform and expanded scholarship with local recipients increasing from 378 to 1,000, while all arrears for 210 students abroad were settled. Funds were also allocated to renovate the University of Liberia and public schools to address and improve facilities. To further demonstrate our commitment to education, funds were provided for the renovation of the University of Liberia and several public schools across the country. This intervention will address the long-standing post-Civil War problem of congestion. Last year, the health sector saw significant improvement. Maternal death dropped nationwide. Immunization coverage for children under 1 reached 88%, and medicine stock out decreased from 95 to 5%. We thank Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, for strengthening Liberia's immunization program. With their support, Liberia has expanded vaccine access and improved public health while meeting all co-financing commitments for the first time in 10 years. We recorded significant progress in addressing infrastructure constraints confronting the health sector. Reconstruction work on the C.H. Rennie facility in Margibi County is underway at a new Kakita location, where it will now include a midwifery school. Construction work on the neuropsychiatric hospital in Bensonville is now 75%, while work on the regional diagnostic center in Bond County is 85%. To support the continued delivery of quality services in the sector, a new midwifery training program has been initiated at Bumming Community College and budget allocated for a smooth operation of the ERWA hospital. Data is vital for planning and response. So the government set up a National Health Intelligence Center to improve data-driven decision-making. The system has demonstrated effectiveness as recent data indicate that tuberculosis notification rose by 7.5% over the past year, while incident and mortality decreased by 28% and 49% respectively. Our efforts against drug abuse intensified with the launch of the Liberia First National Anti-Drug Plan, providing strategic roadmap to reduce both demand and supply of illicit drugs. By close of the year, over 800 at-risk youth were enrolled in recovery programs. Mr. Speaker, the honorable members of the legislature, poor sanitation and limited access to clean water have long threatened public health, especially in urban areas like Monrovia, where 42% of the citizens lack basic sanitation facilities. In 2025, we completed the Buffalo Water System, commenced new water supply projects in Greenville and Plevo, and began the rehabilitation and expansion of the Shredru water supply system. These projects are set to benefit over 43,000 persons. The 48-inch White Plain to Monrovia pipeline project is nearing its first phase of completion. Plans are underway for the remainder of the project, which is expected to benefit over 1 million residents in Montserrat County. Years of conflict left many Liberians vulnerable. In response, the government expanded social protection program to ensure fair opportunity for all citizens. In 2025, the Save the Future project integrated more than 8,000 street children into safe environments and enrolled over 2,700 out-of-school children. Over the past 2 years, around 13,500 children were reunited with their families. About 4,000 of these have returned to school, while over 3,700 caregivers gained support through grant training and family programs. Thanks to the philanthropic support, we have received 5 containers filled with various materials such as clothing, shoes for children. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection is collaborating with the Ministry of Education to make sure these items are delivered to school-age children across the country. Under the Realize project, the government provided income support through cash transfers to over 15,000 poor households, delivering over $1 billion Liberian dollars to help them cover basic household needs. The Liberia Women Empowerment Project also reached 3,300 women with income support and is expanding to benefit over 32,000 more women across several counties. These efforts promote economic opportunities and household welfare. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, fellow Liberians, young people who make up over half of the population are Liberia's greatest asset. This year, we advanced youth deployment by launching the National Youth Policy 2025 to 2030 and the Youth, Peace, and Security Action Plan. We increased job, skill building, and livelihood opportunities for vulnerable youth and women. Through the Realize project, more than 15,000 young people received support for income generation and training, and over 1,400 youth completed technical and vocational programs. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, ladies and gentlemen, sports unite people and foster discipline, teamwork, and national pride. To support this, the government and the Bee Mountain Mining Corporation are launching football academies in both Bonn and Montreal countries, creating direct routes to national teams and encouraging professionalism and growth in Liberia's sports sector. We prioritize at-risk youth with drug prevention and rehabilitation and upgraded the Youth Agriculture Training Center. Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, providing adequate housing remains a priority. Many Liberians live in overcrowded, insecure conditions. To address this, the National Housing Authority will begin building 600 social housing units across 6 counties in February this year. Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, Liberia's long-standing governance challenges have contributed to the weakening our institutions and decline in public trust. My administration is committed to restoring confidence through the strengthening integrity, accountability, and transparency. A step in this direction is a requirement for heads of institutions to sign performance contracts and comply clearly with defined standards under our new established performance management and compliance system. Working with the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, we secured 11 indictments, obtained 2 convictions, and had 1 acquittal. 4 prosecutions are ongoing. Meanwhile, we enforce administrative measures by suspending or dismissing officials involved in misconduct. Additionally, we have strengthened asset declaration rules and introduced ethics textbook in schools. The General Auditing Commission made major strides, completing 94 out of 105 audits. This includes the domestic debt audit from 2018 to 2023, which rejected over $704 million US in unsupported claims. For this first time, a system audit of the House of Representatives for 2021 to 2024 was conducted with a report expected in March 2026. Compliance with audit recommendation rose from 13% in 2024 to 37% in 2025. And we keep working with the legislature to ensure the General Auditing Commission can fully carry out its constitutional duty to protect the public interest. My government is advancing legal reforms to make e-procurement the standard and to promote fair, inclusive participation. In 2025, the Public Procurement and Concession Commission move Liberia's procurement system forward by expanding electronic procurement and strengthening oversight in over 50 public entities. These steps will tighten controls, reduce waste, and support the arrest agenda for inclusive development. In 2025, justice and security were strengthening by expanding access to justice, improving criminal prosecution, and upgrading correctional and judicial facilities. Logistical support to key law enforcement agencies was enhanced. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency seized nearly 10 metric tons of illicit drugs and arrested over 550 suspects, while the immigration sector enhanced border security and migration process. The Liberia National Fire Service boosted emergency response with more than 10 new fire engines and over firefighting equipment. These initiatives have increased public trust in the justice and security system compared to pre-2024 levels. To address congestion at the Edward Kesali Military Barracks, we renovated the Kent Jones Military Barracks in Margibi and Camp Grant Military Barracks in Nimba County. This has accommodated the relocation of over 600 soldiers, improving living conditions for our military families. During the year under review, we made significant progress in improving civil service. We placed more than 3,400 long-serving volunteers in education and health onto the national payroll. To boost morale and productivity, we increased the salaries for over 23,000 frontline workers in health, education, security, and agriculture. We are also strengthening the system for the future. Merit-based hiring is being reinforced through a new civil service testing center, and staff welfare is improving through automated legal services. Finally, we are committed to investing in our employees by offering a 50% salary advance option, expanding long-term loan program, and providing additional training opportunities both at home and abroad. My administration strengthening protection by enforcing key environmental biodiversity laws, updating climate commitments, improving access to climate finance, including the establishment of the Climate Carbon Market Authority. Additionally, we took steps to further conserve our treasured flora and fauna by initiating the process of clearing the Sapo National Park of intruders to open it for tourism and attractions. We also established a modern environmental laboratory, ratified the biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction agreement, and decentralized environmental governance. Liberia remains committed to responsible stewardship, ensuring that environmental protection, economic growth, and prosperity advance together for this generation and the next. Honorable members of the legislature, land governance remains a persistent challenge that affects livelihood, food security, culture, the economy, development, and climate change. Poor management has led to land grabs, dispute, and social conflict. In 2024, we imposed a moratorium on the public land sales to prevent speculative land grab. It was lifted only after establishing clear guidelines and a standardized national deeding system in 2025. These measures now ensure full land allocation is fair, transparent, and accountable. In 2025, the government continued decentralization effort by deploying counter-service center coordinators across all 15 counties and serving over 32,000 citizens and boosting local revenue generation. County development planning units and treasury assessment strengthening fiscal management. A comprehensive review led to the reclassification of cities based on legal criteria. To promote participatory governance, more than 1,800 traditional leaders were appointed, and the National Assembly of Chiefs was convened in 2025 in Bangan, Bong County, in November 2025. Lastly, the government was advanced institutional reform by passing the act establishing the Ministry of Local Government, a major effort in advancing decentralization. To bring services closer to citizens, task force centers were opened in Ganjire and Bong counties, making it easier for people to access identification documents locally. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, my foreign policy is guided by a firm commitment to international systems grounded in the United Nations multilateralism and international law. I believe these are vital for global cooperation and peaceful conflict resolution. In 2025, we worked to restore Liberia's international credibility and reestablish it as a respected member of the global community. Our foreign policy now prioritizes national interest, integrity, and resolve, focusing on tangible benefits to Liberia and strengthening our country's standing. Liberia's election to a non-permanent United Nations Security Council seat for 2026-2027, with 181 out of 193 votes in the General Assembly vote, demonstrate renewed global confidence in our leadership. This historic achievement raises Liberia's profile and enables us to contribute to international peace with emphasis on women, youth, climate, stability in our region. Liberia continues to play leading roles in ECOWAS, the Mano River Union, and African Union. We have also deepened our bilateral relations with the United States of America, evidenced by extending B1, B2 visa validity for Liberians from 12 to 36 months and launching a $124 million health partnership. In the past year, Liberia strengthened ties with France, Serbia, Morocco, China, Barbados, Bahamas, UAE, Rwanda, Mano River Union, ECOWAS, African Union, and European Union. Economic diplomacy is now a clear priority. We are shifting from aid dependent to trade and investment. We have engaged over 50 foreign and diaspora investors in priority sectors, agriculture, energy, and infrastructure. Honorable members of the legislature, Liberia's progress in 2025 reflects renewed international credibility. As we take our seat on the UN Security Council and strengthen regional leadership, this administration will pursue a foreign policy that promotes peace, prosperity, inclusion, and national pride. Liberia is also set to strengthen its global standing by hosting international meetings. To this end, we have undertaken the construction of the Mara River Union Presidential Center for Regional Peace Development in Foya, Lupa County. The facility is fully owned by the Liberian government and includes a 500-seat conference hall and secure accommodation villas for visiting dignitaries. We are also pleased to acknowledge the invaluable contribution of the Angie Brooks Women's Center Situation Room in the promotion of peace and democracy. It is also commendable that the United Nations Security Council has recognized them as an exemplary mechanism for monitoring potential hotspots, incidents involving violence, harassment, and intimidation. The Mana River Union Presidential Center will serve as a significant resource for their efforts in the future. Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, the Liberian diaspora is not just our family abroad. They're a vital national asset, bringing skills, capital, and pride to Liberia's development. In 2024, we pledge to strengthen diaspora engagement, and I am pleased to report real progress. The inaugural Liberia Diaspora Conference in Washington, D.C. led to clear recommendations, including the establishment of a diaspora commission. We will soon bring this proposal to the legislature. Across the country, diaspora entrepreneurs and professionals are returning to invest in infrastructure, agriculture, health, education, and technology. Many are also building homes and launching new enterprises. We recognize these efforts through the Year of Return program. I must also stress that we are appalled by the distressing losses suffered by members of the diaspora community in various housing projects, including the Millennium Estate housing project. We will continue to work with all parties to ensure justice for those impacted. Mr. Speaker, the honorable members of the legislature, a nation that refuses to reconcile hinders its own progress and remains bound to the weight of the past. As such, reconciliation is essential for our growth as the nation's progress in healing and growth for future generations. My administration has taken meaningful steps, including implementing Truth and Reconciliation Commission recommendations. Last year, we reburied former President William R. Tolbert Jr. and Samuel K. Doe Sr. with dignity and respect, and we formally apologize on behalf of the Liberian state for its role in the conflict. These actions were necessary steps towards healing, acknowledgement, and national closure. We are considering Reconciliation Commission and have established the Office of the War and Economic Crimes Court, which has completed draft laws for your review. Reconciliation, however, does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean abandoning justice. True reconciliation must include justice to ensure lasting peace for Liberia. Mr. Speaker and members of the legislature, in my address to the honorable body last year, I extended a hand across the political divide and called on compatriots in the opposition and others to join us in building an inclusive government. Today, I want to renew that call. During the year-end review, the nation mourned the loss of several prominent citizens. Among these were Judge Lavinia V. Ashton, former probate court judge, former dean of the Louis Otto Graham School of Law, Honorable Dr. Emilia Angeline Hope Ward, former Minister of Planning and Economic Affairs, Nimba County Senator Prince Yomi Johnson, Honorable George Musu Freeman Sumo, former Senior Senator from Montserrat, Honorable Ambassador James Tia Toppin, former Liberian Ambassador, Federal Republic of Nigeria, former Ambassador to the Republic of Benin and Republic of Togo. Honorable Dr. El Mohamed Sharif, former Vice Chair of the Council of State, Liberia National Transition Government, Madam Nancy Bondo, former First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Sylvester M. Grigsby, former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs and Chief of Staff to the President, Republic of Liberia, Professor Florence Serena Blyden, former Professor, University of Liberia, and a host of others. A fuller list will be published. Mr. Vice President, Madam First Lady, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tem, and members of the legislation, Mr. Chief Justice, Associate Justices, and members of the Judiciary, Madam Dean, and members of the Cabinet. In conclusion, I invite us to pause for a final moment of truth, guided always by supreme interests of our country. Beyond the progress we celebrate today, there remain unresolved matters that continue to weigh on the national conscience, affect our dignity, and demand decisive action. Accordingly, I will take the following steps without delay. First, I will ensure that we continue to comprehensively review our concession framework to correct historic inequities in the extraction and management of our national wealth, and to ensure that Liberia and its people receive fair and lasting benefits. Second, I will take immediate action to resolve the long-standing issue of relocating Palm Grove Cemetery, where the remains of our former president, this is a matter of national honor, historical responsibility, respect for those who serve our republic. Third, I will act to rehabilitate the decaying public buildings in Monrovia and across the country, restoring dignity to public service, safeguarding national assets for future generations. Fourth, I will initiate the process of laying out the major cities throughout Liberia, consistent with recent decentralization initiatives and in accordance with the newly enacted zoning law of Liberia. Fellow Liberians, we began the journey together with a firm belief that Liberia's potentials are unlimited. That belief remains unshaken. Over the past year, we have deliberately built on the progress already made, strengthening confidence and restoring hope that the promise of the nation can indeed be on life for the benefit of all. After another year of service, we can say with confidence that the state of the nation is stronger than we last stood here. The gains we have recorded are not an end in themselves. They are foundation and clear proof that purposeful leadership anchored in service can deliver results. These achievements affirm our belief that Liberia's best days are ahead of us. Yet, we must not become complacent. As we deepen the implementation of the Arrest agenda for inclusive development this year and beyond, we move forward with resolve, courage, clarity of purpose. We are guided by a simple but enduring truth. Leadership is not defined by titles or privilege, but by humility, fidelity to our oath, and honor to the Republic. We are here to serve the Liberian people, not to serve ourselves. If our purpose strays from service, disappointment will follow, and the truth will be unavoidable that we belong elsewhere. Service is the measure of leadership. We stand today at a defining moment between our past and our future. The choices we make now will determine whether we advance or fall behind, whether we honor or betray the hopes entrusted to us. Let us therefore commit together with one heart to move forward and not backward, mindful that what we do today will shape the Liberia of tomorrow. Let us govern, legislate, and judge in the supreme interest of the Liberian people, knowing that history will render its verdict on whether we rose to the moment or changed the course of our nation for better. With faith in God, confidence in our people, and love for country, I ask all of us to think Liberia, love Liberia, get up here. Yes, sir. God bless you.